RGC podcast.
Oh, I've seen it evolve.
Right.
I mean, change. I remember when Highway 83 was just two lanes. It's grown so much, and of course, I give credit to those before us that challenged those.
Hello, Rio Grande City. My name is Becky Rubio,
I am Melinda Gomez.
and we have another exciting episode of the Lunch Break podcast.
But first, what's going on?
Too many things. No, I'm just kidding. That's good.
It's very good.
We have a very busy November. We had a very busy October, a very successful October. I first want to just thank everybody that came out to the Rio Grande City Trunk or Treat event that happened on October 25th. It was an extremely successful event. We had so many guests come in, and this year we were able to give out some trick or treat bags. And when Halloween rolled around, I saw a lot of kids that had our bags, so it made me really happy that they actually got to utilize them more than once.
And it was a huge event, right?
Huge event. Thousands of people, literally thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to thank the entire business community, all of the organizations. Some of our schools are definitely Rio Grande City ISD School District came out to, give candies and little goodies to the children of our community. It was a really fun event.
We also had volunteers, right? Student
volunteers. They helped us in the haunted trolley.
Yes.
That was super successful. That was such a fun idea. They helped us organize our door prize donations for the costume contest. We had a lot of costume contest entries this year.
Okay.
It was a really fun event. We had a great time, and I just want to thank everybody, like businesses, organizations, community members that came out and helped make this a successful event.
And we look forward to next year.
It's going to be fun. We're going to come up with some even more fun ideas.
Okay, we have the Kelsey Bass Museum and the Rio Grande City Public Library, along with Medina Electric Co-op, will be hosting the Veterans Appreciation Drive-Through Luncheon. This is Wednesday, November 8th, from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Basilio Villarreal Municipal Park. And if you have any questions, go ahead and call the library at 956-487-4389.
So that's going to be great. And just kind of along with that, the city of Rio Grande City will be closed in observation of Veterans Day on November 10th. So just kind of keep that in mind. We always post, we always give a little heads up on our social media. So keep an eye out for that.
Also, we have market days. Do not forget our monthly market day. Downtown Market is November 18th at the historic Britton Avenue Kiosco from 6 to 10 p.m.
Always fun. We love our market days. Coming up right after the Veterans Day drive-through the next day, the city of Rio Grande City will have a booth at the Rio Grande City High School Fall Festival on November 9th from 5 to 8 p.m. at Rio Grande City High School. Come on out. It's going to be fun. There's going to be games. Different student organizations are going to be selling different, snacks, and we're going to be there. We're going to have a game, pin the nose on the pumpkin.
Okay.
And we're going to be giving out some fun prizes. So come on and say hi to us there. Again, Thursday, November 9th from 5 to 8 p.m. at Rio Grande City High School.
Save the date. The city of Rio Grande City will be gearing up for the kickoff event of the holiday season with Main Street's lighting of the Christmas tree. This is Wednesday, November 29th at 6 p.m. So we want to make sure everybody heads out to that. There'll be activities. There'll be letters to Santa. The library has their annual coloring contest. There will be music for refreshments. And, of course, the lighting of the Christmas tree. The official lighting of the Christmas tree in our downtown Kiosco.
That's always a fun event. And
Yes.
It's so exciting to see the city get dressed up for Christmas. I'm already listening to Christmas music.
Yeah. Oh, I know. No, but the downtown area, you'll start seeing, if you haven't already, it's been shared on social media, on Facebook. The Public Works Department has been putting up the Christmas lights in downtown. And yes, also with the reindeer.
Yes, there's
reindeer
reindeer.
light. Yeah.
And there's going to be some more lighted surprises this year. So just be on the lookout for all of that.
Get into the Christmas spirit.
We're almost there. We're almost there. So with that, we have a very special guest with us today. It is the Rio Grande City Economic Development Corporation Executive Director, Mrs. Dalinda Guillen.
Hi, I'm Kelsey from the Rio Grande City Public Library. Don't forget to check out our page at rgclibrary.org, where you can find more amazing websites such as Libby, Simply E, Mango Languages, and so much more. And in order to access all these websites, you need a library card. For more information, just call us at 956-487-4389. We hope to see you there.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Lunch Break. We are here today with our guest, Dalinda Guillen. She is our Rio Grande City Economic Development Corporation Executive Director.
Rio Grande City EDC is what everyone knows us as, or just EDC. This is the economic development arm of the city. We go out and do work on behalf of the city of Rio Grande City to try to attract business and create jobs.
And so how'd you get started into that? How did you get into this sort of, how did you get into this business or this, career?
I've been doing workforce development for 16 years, and about 9 years ago, the City of Rio Grande City was looking for a director for their economic development office, and so I thought, what a great way to bridge my skill and passion for Rio Grande City in this opportunity, and so the rest is history.
Tell us a little bit about what is economic development?
I get that question a lot. Most people don't understand what goes into economic development, much less what it is. So it's actually a range of activities that encompass policy and programs that help to retain and attract jobs and ultimately foster economic growth in any community. So in this case, my job is to do just that for Rio Grande City.
And we have seen a big economic boost recently. Like there's just been I know that I've been to several grand openings since I started here at the city, and it's incredible. We've gotten Marshalls, that's a big one for us. And then of course Chick-fil-A, that's also, and do all of these businesses, do you start off with a conversation? How do these businesses decide to come to Rio Grande City?
Well, it really stems from what a community is able to offer these businesses in the form of population and, of course, being able to support their business. You've got to have the right conditions in a community to attract some of these bigger names, and that would be, your income levels, your skill. Again, I talked about being involved in workforce development. A key component of economic development is being able to not only create and retain jobs, but to have that talent development in a community. And so they look for the skilled worker to be able to support their business in a community. But there's a lot of business recruitment involved on our part. As an economic development office, we listen to our residents and we hear what they want us to bring to the community to make their life a little bit better. And maybe it's that cup of coffee, that special cup of coffee that they're looking for, or that department store where they love to pick up their clothing or shoes and such. And so we make note of all of that, and then of course we try our best to reach out to some of these companies and make that match possible.
I think a big misconception is people are well, we need this and we need this. It's not as simple as okay, let's get a Target in here, So what kind of goes into the conversation? I mean, I know you said it depends on the status, the status of our population and
The conditions of a community have to be right for a business to consider their investment, because it is an investment. Whether it's a small business or a large business, the conditions have to be right. The location has to be perfect. The area has to lend itself for that service or that product to really, be successful. And so, there's a lot that goes into planning for this that people don't see up front,
Right.
when it comes to, making sure that those conditions are right, making sure that we've got the roadways to connect people to our community, making sure that we have the basic infrastructure in place so that we can support that business or industry. Making sure that our community is able to provide that safety and security so that they feel comfortable having their investment and their employees work in our city.
What kind of, uh, getting more into specifics, what kind of examples would you give, like as far as infrastructure? Like what would that be for a business?
Some businesses, are looking for something very specific. They want to have a certain location within a city that has access to, for example, 83. Big businesses are very retailers, right, that have come into town. If you notice, they set up along 83. Why? Because you've got the visibility, the traffic. So you've got to make sure you have, that in place. But then you've got businesses out there that are looking for something more specific, having access to broadband capabilities. I know downtown, there's always a question about whether or not there's Wi-Fi capability or the ability to connect to broadband so that they can make their transactions easier at their storefronts. Those are just some examples. But, you've got to have, water and sewer capability for any building within the city, right? Any commercial or residential building. So those are the basic needs of any construction project within a city. And so you're probably wondering how we get involved in that. Well, we talk to the companies. What do you need?
Yeah.
What is that? What is that load of electricity that you're going to be requiring? We just had that conversation the other day about a project, and so we work with the electric companies, with the utility companies to make sure that all of that is done, and we work in tandem with the planning office to make sure that, and we work very closely with the planning office actually, because one of the things that economic developers do is they get involved in the real estate development, and there's all of those steps that the planning office has to do to make sure that we have ultimately a business, a building that is safe for customers to come in and shop or dine or do business.
And without getting into too many specifics, because you probably at this point can't, but do we have big projects coming into Rio Grande City?
We do.
Some exciting things?
And it's, some businesses are really funny about making sure that we're keeping their project under wraps because they want to leave that surprise element for when they are ready to make that announcement. But there's so many parts that happen before a business comes into town that sometimes we know of something coming, but we really can't share it until it's signed, sealed, and delivered.
Official.
But we respect that. Companies really like to know that they're working with a city or with an economic development office that is going to be sensitive to confidential information, and we have to respect that. So sometimes we speak in general terms, there's a department store coming over to town or a quick service restaurant, but we kind of take their lead on the specifics when the announcement is officially made.
Okay.
Is there anything that you can tell us about right now?
Well, I think a lot of people know there's, maybe not a lot of people, but if you live over on the west end of town, there's a project under development right now, a big medical center project that people have seen and heard of and are excited about. From a workforce perspective, it's going to be able to provide some quality jobs in healthcare that are in demand, and also, give a rise to the healthcare needs in our community. And so that is something that people know is coming, and so there questions about when, and we're reviewing their plans and their building plans, and all of that's moving along at the pace as it should. And then hopefully soon we'll be cutting ribbon on one of their several facilities to be installed on the property.
Excellent. And how long does something usually take to develop, like from beginning to end?
So projects like these don't happen overnight. Some projects take years. I look back at the project across Walmart, and that was, started before my time, and it took a lot of negotiating, and that's what an economic developer does. They bring the stakeholders to the table, they work on all the differences, iron out those wrinkles, make it work for everybody, because at the end of the day, you want something to happen in your community that is positive for all residents. And so, it's sometimes, it could take years. But then you have companies that are ready to move in, and if they find the right site with all the right conditions, they can be under construction and complete within 6 months. However, there's, a huge delay in the supply chain. And so what we encountered and have encountered since COVID is, the short supply of equipment, material, not necessarily equipment, but material that is needed for construction. Even on the city side, where you have to lay out, water and sewer lines, some of those materials are, back ordered, or there's a huge demand after COVID. I think construction really took off, but just keeping up with that demand perhaps has really challenged the supply, and so sometimes that can delay a project even further.
So we're still feeling the effects
A
of
little bit, yeah,
For sure.
at least on that end.
So we've discussed what economic development for in attracting the bigger box stores. What do we do for the small business? So what do we have available for small businesses?
Yeah, so supporting our small businesses is at the core of economic development. And this is one of many different things that we do. But the focus on small businesses, you've heard it, we've said it, our small businesses are America's backbone. And that's no different here in Rio Grande City. So being able to support them in the same manner, being able to find those locations for them that are appropriate, making sure that those conditions are right for them are some of the things that we do. But we have education and training for our small businesses. Our small businesses don't have the access to corporate training or, all of these luxuries that some of these bigger corporations have to make sure that they're successful in the market. And so what we do is we partner with our local university, UTRGV, with the support of the Small Business Administration. We're able to bring in speakers and topics to our small businesses that are of importance to them to make sure that they're successful in their startup or in their existing small business. So I think that works. We've learned that small businesses don't have the ability to get away from their place often. So we bring the education to them by webinars, if it's convenient. These podcasts are actually a really good tool, and we're looking at incorporating some of that education in this format, because we know that would be a simple way for them to get this get this education conveniently. So yeah, we do focus on our small businesses, in that we know that any big business is going to see how well a small business does in a community.
Right.
So it's extremely important for us to make sure that they do well, because that's one of the components of a good climate and condition of a community.
And okay, so can you walk us through some of the steps? Like let's say I want to start a business. What is the first thing that I would need to do, and how would we go about bringing that about to Rio Grande City?
A lot of times we get people come in our office asking about a business idea. They've got something in mind, and it usually stems from a pop-up shop sometimes. We have market days, for example, and you have someone that's really excelling at their, product, and so they want to know how they can bring that, to a permanent location. Well, then one of the things that we assist with is site selection on a larger scale for bigger projects, and on a smaller scale. We've got a list of properties on our website that can meet the needs of those entrepreneurs that are looking for a place to lease. But before they get in there, they want to know, okay, how can I know that I'm going to be successful in there? And it's a huge sacrifice for any small business to go into business, the time and the investment. So we encourage them to go through education through our with our SBDC partners at UTRGV, so that they're able to get that basic understanding of what it takes to be in business as a small business, and also to have a business plan created. That is so important, and it's a free service. I keep telling everybody, you got to get your business plan, because it's your guide. It's going to tell you, it's going to guide you in that process of your business. It's going to tell you where you need to be at a certain point, how you're going to function for the first 3 or 5 years. And this is an important document if you're going to go seek financing at a bank.
Right.
They're going to want to know that you have a plan.
Right.
And so you got to have something like that. And even if you're not going to the bank, it's still a good reference to check yourself throughout the year. Are you meeting those benchmarks that you set out, that these professionals helped put together for you to keep you on track and make sure that you're successful?
Right.
Some people can do it without a business plan, and kudos to them. But this is free, and I encourage anyone looking at starting a business to start with a business plan first.
And just to reiterate, this is a service provided by the UTRGV
Small Business Development Center.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want the community to know? Like anything that we haven't touched on that you feel like is an important thing or an important subject for the community to be aware of?
I think that, one of the things that we do is work on business retention and expansion, making sure that our businesses are being successful, and that if there's opportunities for expansion, that we're there to help them along the way. We do a lot of marketing and attraction of our community. We're almost like the marketing arm of our city, because we've got to let the world know that Rio Grande City is the best place to live and to work, and as the mayor says, to play. We like to add and to invest. And so our marketing efforts go beyond our city limits to try to encourage people to look at Rio Grande City as a place to do business. And I think we've been pretty successful with that.
I agree.
We talked a little bit about entrepreneurship and small business. That's at the core of what we do. We're constantly working with our small businesses to help them succeed. We also get involved heavily in real estate development when it comes to bridging those needs with the city planning office and making sure that everything is planned and constructed correctly. We identify opportunities for finance for businesses that are seeking support to stay, afloat or to expand. The access to capital is extremely important. So we work with our banks and lenders across the region to be able to support that. Workforce development, our job is to create jobs, right? And so our partners in workforce development are critical. We do a job fair once a year. So we like to bring talent to our local employers when they need them, and so that's one of the functions that we do as well. Strategic planning, we're involved in strategic planning with our city, making sure that all of the pieces align and that we're able to set a really nice condition for investment. Sometimes we lead in those strategic planning efforts simply because we are involved in almost everything, but that's a very important part of economic development. And then just because of our location along the border, we also get involved in international activities that help to create importing and exporting through Rio Grande City. Not every economic developer does everything that I mentioned. You pick and choose what works for your community. And so while we might have a focus on international trade, others may not. But it's about identifying your community's needs and working, to achieve them.
And strengths.
Awesome. I thought of something just a moment ago, really quickly, I want to just touch on. There are misconceptions about how, I guess, businesses do come to Rio Grande City. And I just want to, I think I've talked about it with Melinda in the past, where it's like, we don't, I don't know how to phrase this. We don't necessarily only encourage certain businesses to come to Rio Grande City. We encourage all businesses to come to Rio Grande City. But the choice is ultimately theirs. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We talk a lot about retail when it comes to economic development, and that is not everything in economic development. there's industries. And so when I talk about the medical center project, that's an industry that we are trying to nurture and support and develop. I mean, we have a research facility here in Rio Grande City for Alzheimer's, which is amazing.
Yes.
And we're about to add another research facility in the city. And so just being able to develop that industry is key for us and in economic development, because it's going to help create jobs and good quality jobs and help put us on the map when it comes to research, which also is a little marketing opportunity for us. People will wonder, where is Rio Grande City? But yet, going back to, investments and business investments, they choose you. But we know who we want. Like I said, we listen to our community. And sometimes it makes sense, and sometimes it doesn't. I had a conversation with an investor earlier this week, actually, who has got a concept that he's bringing to the Austin area. I said, that's really cool. That is awesome. It fits the community. We talked about, Rio Grande City, and he and I believe that we're not there yet, with that type of business. And so they're he studied obviously the market and knows that his sales would be better suited for a larger urban area and a younger, population. And so hopefully we'll get there and we'll have these, chic shops and places to go and enjoy. But we recognize what we can and cannot bring to this community, but we don't give up. We still try. Hey, if you want to come to Rio Grande City with your concept, let me help you find a place and let me help you find a workforce for it. But I think that it's such a unique concept that we're not ready to embrace just yet.
Right. Can I ask what it was?
No.
Okay.
Confidentiality is huge. It's funny because we get people that come into our office and my staff knows very well that what is said there stays there, unless of course they tell us that we're okay to share it. We have to respect that really and truly, because it could break a deal. Businesses look at that too. They want to know that they're working in a community that they can trust.
Right.
And, it's not just about announcing the business that's coming. It could be about the business that's closing too. And thankfully we have not had to encounter anything like that. But just having that trust between our, businesses and the city is extremely important. Knowing that they can come to them with matters that are confidential and will be kept confidential is key.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
No. Is there anything else you want to add other than economic development? A little bit about yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm from Rio Grande City.
There you go.
I'm a rattler. I went off to school at Texas A&M, Samalsa and Aggie, but I made Rio Grande City my home. And my husband and I raised 2 daughters here in Rio Grande City, proudly raised 2 daughters in Rio Grande City. And that's what makes my job easy, that I'm from here and I love my community. And I know what I want to do for my community, and that's make it better. And any economic developer is going to tell you the same. Their passion is to improve the quality of life in a community, and I'm just fortunate to be able to do it in my own community. So
that's awesome.
That's great.
Because nobody's going to know Rio better than somebody that's from Rio.
I've seen it evolve.
Right.
I mean, change. I remember when Highway 83 was just 2 lanes, it's grown so much. And of course, I give credit to those before us that challenged those, tasks and made great things happen. And we're at a different level now, and we're continuing to build on our, momentum. And then, I'm really excited about our community and where it's going.
Me too.
Yeah.
That is exciting. Just in the last 10 years, you've seen so much happen here in Rio Grande City, and more is coming. More is coming. Like, that's something that, it's coming. It's not a fast process. It's a little bit slower, but it's growing.
We got some momentum going. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's construction going on every day.
Yes.
And even if it's not commercial, there's a lot of residential construction too. And that says something about a community,
Mhm.
you know, people building their home here says that, you know, they have chosen
Right.
to make Rio Grande
Yeah.
City their home. And so that's really neat. So it's for all those people that we work every day to make our community the best place for investment to come and help make Rio Grande City better.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on
Thank you, Becky.
and talking with us a little bit. I'm sure there is interest in this. I'm sure people are like, yeah, what is that? So
Mhm.
I'm glad we're able to answer those questions
Yes.
today. Thank you.
Thank you for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
We'll get you again.
We can talk
We'll bring
about
it-
more specific
Yeah.
projects when they're
Yeah.
Maybe once something already has been announced, we can
Yeah.
go ahead and come in and discuss.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for helping me share what economic development is and how we support our community. And for anyone out there that is interested in looking at starting up a business, feel free to give us a call. Our website is an excellent resource for research too. If you want to do that on your own, you can look at market data and you know, sites and such. But if you want to come into our office and have a chat with me about your idea, I am always willing to listen and help.
Okay, and you can find that information at www.rgc-edc.com. And you can call the Rio Grande City EDC office at 956-487-3476.
Excellent. This podcast is an initiative of the City of Rio Grande City and the Rio Grande City EDC. If you would like to know more about certain topics pertaining to the municipality or have an idea for an upcoming podcast, email mgomez@rgcedc.com or brubio@cityofrgc.com.
RGC Podcast.